In this video, we're going to take a look at the cyber range and really kind of deep dive into what it is, as well as look at some applications you would use in the cyber range as part of your learning and experience. This is Siberian Sentry, and I'm your host, Cypher Jack. So here we are. This is the cyber range, and I want to explain a little bit about what it is. Let me start off with this illustration that when you first get in, I want you to sort of imagine, let's say, or pretend that you just got hired by a company, an organization, and they have given you near admin access to their network, but they've also put you into a training program that you are expected to learn along the way so that you can do the work that you were hired to do. If you approach it from that aspect, the cyber range, well, it becomes a very important part of your daily life to come in and go through the classroom, do things, and just learn. Simply get that experience because the one thing you find when looking for a job in cybersecurity or IT is they want you to have some sort of experience. And what better way to get experience than working in an actual live environment, like if you got hired by a company? And what if you used actual applications and then you had that experience that you could put on your portfolio and your resume? So, with that being said, let's let the community sort of speak for itself here. And so we have simply right here, um, the community is for you if you want the opportunity to work with real live security breaches. You want hands on experience with enterprise licensed cybersecurity tools. You want actual resume experience in a real production environment from our company. Like I said, most jobs out there, even if they say entry level, still require you to have some sort of experience. And I listened to a couple of podcasts. Those two podcasts that I listened to that I would recommend is the Cyberwire Daily and Darknet Diaries. Darknet Diaries takes the approach of storytelling. They sort of go through history and bring forth these various stories of things that happen in the world of cybersecurity and networking. Cyberwire Daily is sort of your daily, everyday sort of update on things that are happening within the world of cybersecurity. Well, sometimes they'll do interviews with other individuals who are in the field, HR, whoever. And one of the things that they asked, or a couple of interviews they were doing, and with different people, they asked simply, how does someone get experience if they don't have experience? It's kind of like the question of like, I want to go buy a car, but I don't have credit. They keep telling me I don't have credit, and I can't get credit unless I have credit. So it seems like a redundant uh, cycle. Like it's just, how do you do that? And so I remember in both these interviews, both the individuals mentioned joining a cyber range. Some did mention also that look into even something like Hack the Box. However, one thing I can say is just from personal experience, the cyber range is really good. I mean, it really is sort of a really kind of guided program that teaches you how to use these actual programs. Okay. And Josh Madakor, who runs this, he does do a video where he sort of compares the cyber range to Hack the Box or Try Hack Me, and it really breaks that down for you. So I would suggest I'll put it in the description for you to look at if you want to watch that video. I will also have the link to the cyber range for you to join in the description as well. So there's a discussion about experience. Experience is super important, even in entry level positions, and something like the cyber range can help you. Uh, Continuing on this, the community is for you if you prefer learning by doing, not just theory. I can sit all day long and watch Professor Messer's videos. They're really good, especially if I'm trying to prepare for the Security Plus certification exam. Uh, but until I actually see it working inside of a network or an environment, sometimes it's hard to connect the dots. And so this is great if you're trying to connect those dots. All right. You need real experience on your resume from an internship. This program has that optional internship for you to partake in. You also like a guided roadmap into cybersecurity or a career in IT. And some of the applications they're going to talk about here, these enterprise tools that you'll have access to is Tenable, which is your vulnerability management, Microsoft Sentinel, which is your SIEM, your Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, which is your EDR, and then Microsoft Azure, which is for your VMs, but it is for more than just simply creating a VM. And we will go through some of these applications and show you what they work. Microsoft Azure. So here we are. Microsoft Azure. Uh, you'll notice at the top there's this bar, of items that are called services. Maybe you've already picked up on. Oh, there's Microsoft Sentinel. I remember it just said Microsoft Sentinel was something you used, and you do. Resources here, which show things like virtual machines, resource groups, log analytics workspace. Up here, some of the services are virtual machines, Microsoft Sentinel, log analytics workspaces, resource groups, network security groups. Now, let's say you decide, hey, I'm going to start listening to that CyberWire daily. And they'll say things like NSGs. Well, now you've already learned the NSG stands for network security groups. So now you understand the vernacular and some of the ways that they talk in cybersecurity using some of these they put them down into these like acronyms or whatever. And so this will help you now start to pick up on that. But if we go into virtual machines, you'll see CypherTech CJ. This is my virtual machine that I created. I have it deallocated. Right now it's updating. It's weird, but I have it deallocated, which means that it's not running. It's not live. I can't I can't log into it or anything like that. But in any case, I created this. It's a newer VM that I had created, an older one that I was using. Um, I deleted that one to create this one. I plan on doing a video showing you how I created this VM step by step. But I want to go back to the home screen and show that you also do some uh, hands-on learning where you actually will use Microsoft Sentinel and all these other ones. You'll get to use them, you get access to them, you'll get to see how they work and begin doing some things within them. Next up is Microsoft Defender. Now, this Microsoft Defender, uh, the best way to explain this program to make it as simple as possible is everything that is done on a network creates a log. And this program allows you to basically search those logs and look for things that you need to. For example, let's say one day they come to you and say, "Hey, we have this employee. We think he's been exfiltrating data, or we think he's going to exfiltrate data. Can you find out if indeed he has done this?" And you would come to Microsoft Defender. You would start looking, and we'll go to that in just a minute. In this case, right now, we're looking at an actual device. We're in devices. I searched this device and brought it up, and you'll notice it's CypherTech CJ. And what it's saying here is it usually has a lot more information, but in this case, because it's a newer VM, it's saying, hey, so far all we found is 10 vulnerabilities, or we've discovered 10 vulnerabilities. And there's 6 high, 4 medium, and maybe right now you don't know what that means, and that's okay because I plan on doing a video in Tenable where I show you, we talk about and discuss vulnerabilities, particularly ones that are discovered through a scan. And so it might say that there's 10 here, but it could be just something as simple as outdated software. Now, I don't want to water this down and make it sound like, oh, it's just outdated software. Outdated software can contain uh, the ability to have something inside of it in that version of software that's not updated that someone can exploit to get into your network or do other damaging things. So while it might be just something as simple as outdated software, it still is a risk. Now, if you're also looking in the world of cybersecurity, you will learn about terms like threat hunting. Well, threat hunting, this is kind of what it's all about. There's more to do than just this, but this is a snapshot of what that looks like. Now, I mentioned earlier that this program keeps logs, and we can search those logs to find certain pieces of information and start building a story to figure out what happened. In this case, we're going to come down here and there's a start time and an end time, I have a date, and I'm saying within these time frames, I want to check particularly this VM-MDE-CJ, which is my old VM that I was using, and I want to see if they ran any PowerShell or PwnCrypt particularly is in this scenario. Did they run this? And so let's take an example. Let's see what happens if I run this. Let's see if it finds it. Well, yeah, sure enough, there it is. It ran PowerShell.exe. So while I didn't write this code out, I did previously in my project that I was working on. It can seem a little overwhelming. You're like, how am I going to remember all of that? Well, you don't just remember all of that all the way right away. You get introduced to it in chunks. It's kind of like if you get introduced to building Legos, maybe you build really small Lego sets, and then eventually you get to the point where you can build some bigger sets. Okay. Well, it's the same thing. You start off small, and then you grow in your understanding, you grow in your learning. And I plan on doing a KQL video that's not necessarily designed to teach you all the code that you could use in KQL, but more or less the mindset behind it. So stay tuned for that. All right. So next up is Tenable. We did mention that in the previous one when I talked about the vulnerabilities, right? Well, this is where you would go. So you would create a scan, and there's different kind of scans that you can run. Uh, and so, but there's really two main types of scans. There are the unauthenticated scans, and then there are the authenticated scans. And you're probably wondering, like, what's the difference? Well, an unauthenticated scan is one where you don't have any login information. So you're scanning the network, and essentially what it's going to scan for is if I was someone trying to intrude on this network, is there any open ports or anything that I could get access to? That's about the most you're going to get out of an unauthenticated scan. An authenticated scan is where maybe I have, you know, some user login information or some sort of SSH certificate or something. And I come here and I say, okay, I'm going to run a scan. That scan is going to be way more informative because it's going to act as though it's part of the network because it has those login credentials. And whatever it's scanning, it's going to tell you not just if you have a port open, really, what it's going to tell you is do you have that outdated software that needs to be removed or remediated, for example. Okay. And so that's basically what you use this program for. And I plan on coming back around later and doing an actual video showing you different scans and what the reports look like. So stay tuned for that. All right, so back at the cyber range, as you can see, this is a wonderful program to be a part of. You can definitely learn a lot. You can start gaining that experience, which provides you to have confidence to speak into what you can do, which provides competence, the ability to do the job. And also being part of this community allows you to be a part of particular engagement with the community where you can win cash prizes. So yeah, that's the cyber range. That's some of the applications we use in the cyber range. Like I said, I plan on doing more videos later, kind of working inside of Azure, Defender, Tenable, even Sentinel, and some other areas of the Azure where I can, show you kind of a behind the scenes look. That way, if you're like me, if you're like, man, what programs are they using? Is it all just lines of code, or is there some graphical user interface that's popping up things for them to look at? And as you can see from looking at these applications, it's a combination of those things, but not necessarily the way that I thought about it. So hopefully this has been informative. Please like and subscribe. Hit that bell so you can get notifications when I do some of these other videos and get them released online for you to go through. And I hope it's been interesting. Look into the description of this video and you will find links there for the cyber range. And so I hope that this helps. And I thank you for watching and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.